Do you want to try weaving? We've got you! We can make a beginner-friendly project like this woven mirror frame using Craft Easy's basic weaving kit and yarns. Let's start by warping our weaving loom. We'll tie the end of the yarn on the lower left part of the loom to attach it here. Hook the yarn through the first bottom notch, then bring it up to the opposite notch at the top. Because the project needs a more detailed weave, we'll be doing what we call double warping, wherein we go back to the previous notches, as shown here. This helps us create 2 times the number of warp threads that we can make in a loom. When we reach the end, we'll tie the end of the warp onto the loom. Cut off the yarn, then use the last warp thread to create a loop and finish the knot. Let's use another yarn color, and this time I'll be using green. To cut our yarn for weaving, we'll measure it by wrapping it around the loom 5 times before cutting it off. When we need to cut another yarn later on, we can use this as a basis and adjust the number of wraps, whether we want it longer or shorter. We'll fold the thread in half and insert our needle through the yarn ends. Place the loop end of the thread on top of the warp threads to prep for our next step. In the middle of the 2 threads, go underneath the 2 warp threads from the right, then pull up to create a knot. Let's take a closer look. We keep the middle of the green threads wide open, and we go under the 2 blue warp threads, then pull up to tighten the knot. After finishing a whole row, it's time for us to weave the remaining threads with plain weave. Brush the lines down, closer to each other, using the plastic needle. When adding a new yarn color, we'll tie the ends together with a double knot. This can be used as well when refilling your yarn when you run out. Continue where you left off, then hide the excess yarn ends underneath. Time to add some fun textures. With another yarn color, cut 2 short threads. Place both threads on top of 2 warp threads, then insert the left and right side underneath and in between. Hold them as a bundle, then pull them down. Repeat this 4 more times. In the middle spot of our weave is where we'll place our mirror, so we want to leave a space for it. So we'll need 5 more on the other side as well. Now, let's continue with the pattern plain weave and Ryan knot tassels. Ta-da! I am adding my final row of tassels that covers the top of the mirror and my final rows of plain weave. At the very end, we'll add our finishing stitch, the braiding technique, to help ensure that our weaves stay in place after taking it off the loom. Same as before, we go under the warp and in between the 2 threads, then pull up to tighten. On the final warp thread, let's create a knot to finish the technique. Look how the mirror fits perfectly in our design. Now it's time to glue it on our woven fabric. Take your glue gun and trace the border of where you'll place your mirror. Carefully place the mirror on top and press lightly. Be careful as the surface might still be hot. We can now remove the weave out of the loom. Slide the warp threads off the notches and cut off the ones tied on the loom. Let's turn our work on the back and cut off the excess threads from the knots. For our backing, we'll glue our piece on a stiff backing material. Tuck in the excess warp threads to hide them underneath. I am using a thick felt border, but you can use materials that fit your finished weave. Cut off the backing to the size of your piece. Using Craft Easy's fuzzy wires, let's add a fun border as a final touch. Trace the edges with a glue gun, then place the fuzzy wires on top. Press lightly, then band on the corners to follow our mirror frame's shape. And there you have it, your very own woven mirror frame. For more DIY ideas, you can visit Craft Easy's website and follow their social media accounts right down below. See you on our next project.